Batman has worn several interesting suits throughout his life. You might remember the huge exoskeleton he wore to fight Superman, or the Justice Buster, which he wore to fight the League members when the Joker managed to turn them against the Dark Knight. So today we are bringing you one such armor, the Hellbat, which powers Batman up, but in the process, it notoriously powers Bruce Wayne down. But before we go into our explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us, it means a whole lot. So thank you, and let's begin. Who is Hellbat? The real question is, what is Hellbat? It is an armor created specifically for Batman, not by Bruce Wayne alone, but with the combined efforts of the Justice League members. As a superhero without anything inherently super about him, minus the money, ridiculously high intellect, crazy detective skills, resourcefulness, attitude, good looks, money again, personality, skill set, versatility, appealing voice. Did we mention the money? Well, you know how it goes. Batman often has to go against large-scale threats, working with and against godly beings. It only makes sense for him to have something that will allow him to keep up physically, if not outdo his peers and opponents. I mean, how far can contingency plans take you against someone like Darkseid? This is where Hellbat comes into play, as it allows Batman to fight beyond his strength level, although a high cost that even a multi-billionaire like him cannot afford to pay. Curious about what the cost is? Keep watching because we will get into it and all the details as we proceed in this video. The armor was designed and built by Bruce Wayne, and it was created with a shifting nanokinetic metallic composition. This feature allowed the armor to be shed and reworn by the user via the inbuilt artificial intelligence, which could be activated by the voice. To make things easy, you can just compare it to the composition to Tony Stark's nanotech Iron Man suit. The armor also had a built-in invisibility feature, while its cape could transform into wings for flight. It could change its shape according to the living body inhabiting it. It could also break down and reform around the user's opponents to make them do whatever the user asked it to do. For example, it could reform around, let's say, the Joker and flail him around and make him act as a shield against the user's enemies. The armor had a chest insignia port that could send out powerful energy blasts, a feature commonly present in several high-tech battle armors throughout science fiction. However, to access this feature, the user would have to send the power from the armor to the port. Long story short, despite being super powerful, the Hellbat has its cons. So if Batman were to fight Superman, going with the traditional route and weakening Superman with kryptonite is still the best possible choice for Batman instead of engaging Superman while using the Hellbat. Weakening Superman with the kryptonite and then fighting him while in the Hellbat would be a whole different story altogether. The nanotech allowed the Hellbat to have a few more cool tricks up its sleeve. If someone were to tear off its wings, which is something that's actually happened to the Hellbat, the wings would simply disperse into a swarm of bats and eventually reintegrate into the Hellbat, giving the suit its wings back. And finally, the user of the Hellbat could eject the elements of the suit via voice command, which is once again a common feature within several battle armors across the sci-fi genre. The Hellbat made its DC Universe debut in 2014 with the 33rd issue of the Batman and Robin Comics Volume 2. The issue known as Robin Rises, Cold Justice, begins with Batman wanting to do something about the death of his son, and Robin, Damian Wayne. Damian died after his evil clone Heretic impaled him on his sword. His body was later stolen by Darkseid, and the sarcophagus was taken to Apocalypse by the new god known as Glorious Godfrey. Batman has had enough trauma from losing his loved ones. Naturally, hell breaks loose with Damian's death, especially when Batman witnesses his sarcophagus being taken to Apocalypse via a boom tube. He insists on following the parademons, going to Apocalypse, and resurrecting his son, which is not crazy considering how different characters have been able to come back to life, most notably Superman. However, Batman gets stopped by the Justice League, partly because they are not allowed to leave Earth for personal missions, and partly because it is too dangerous for Batman to go to Apocalypse. After all, despite his staggering net worth, Batman does not have any superpowers at all, and you can't really bribe Darkseid. Irritated by being stopped, Batman short-circuits Cyborg's body, which short-circuits the transport devices of the League members. He then heads to the Justice League satellite all by himself while the members decide how they can follow him. Batman reaches the satellite and accesses a vault. This vault contains his special bat suit created for special occasions, with no introduction introduction necessary, it is easy to understand that the suit we are talking about is the main character of today's video, the Hellbat. Batman tries to gain access to the suit, only for the computer to deny him that access. Soon after, the League intercepts Batman and stands in his way, asking him not to want to play God. This phrase really ticks him off, prompting Batman to talk about how the members should not be bringing this up when most of them seem to have godly powers, with Diana or Wonder Woman literally being the daughter of a god. He even brings up Mara in front of Arthur Curry, as he mentions how Aquaman would also go to extreme lengths for her if necessary, and despite Aquaman insisting on how dangerous it is for Batman to go to Apokolips, the Dark Knight simply mentions how the Hellbat was created exactly for such a purpose. Wonder Woman takes charge of the conversation as she talks about how the Hellbat was created not by Batman alone, but by the members of the Justice League. Superman forged it in the sun, Green Lantern worked on the Hellbat's wings, giving the armor the ability to fly, Flash tested the armor, proving that it could handle the speed force, Cyborg added advanced technology similar to his own to the Hellbat, and he even added the voice command feature. Even Wonder Woman and Aquaman contributed in making the armor stronger, all for one simple purpose: to keep Batman safe, since he was the only one who was only flesh and bones. The only one in line of fire who did not have any superpowers. Anyway, Batman's not the type to deal with the League's moral policing and attacks Cyborg with Captain Cold's cold gun. The others try to hold him back, and there's not much he can do against such superpowered beings. So Batman resigns from the League, which technically allows him to go off Earth for a personal mission. Cut to Apokolips, Darkseid's elite and the new god, Glorious Godfrey, present Darkseid's son, Kalibak, with the Chaos Shard. Now let's get into a small briefing about both the Shard and Kalibak before we proceed with the story. Kalibak is one of Darkseid's children who suffers from the severe need of gaining his father's approval, primarily because Darkseid does not care much for him and thinks of him as kind of useless. Meanwhile, the Chaos Shard is a crystal or a relic from the sphere of gods. It can magnify energy and then turn them into an incredible amount of raw energy. It can also be used only by a new god like Glorious Godfrey himself. Godfrey also presents Damian Wayne's sarcophagus to Kalibak, who is not so interested in it until he learns that it bears the same energy signature as the Shard, making it a likely option for something to fuel the Chaos Cannon with. Kalibak's plan here is to fuel the Chaos Cannon, use it to crack open inhabited worlds, and absorb their energy to restore Apokolips back to its former glory, just in order to impress his father. Meanwhile, Bruce deals with the pain of losing Damian and calls the Bat family together as he needs to head off to Apokolips for his personal mission. The next issue, Robin Rises, Ties That Bind, begins with Batman telling the Bat family about Ra's al Ghul taking Damian and Talia al Ghul's bodies to Nanda Parbat, and Godfrey subsequently stealing it. He has also gotten his hands on a mother box from a parademon which will allow him to open a boom tube to Apokolips, and Bruce intends to go there in his Hellbat in order to have a chance at fighting back. Meanwhile, he assigns the Bat family with the task of protecting Gotham City in his absence, and also in the future should he fail to complete his mission on Apokolips. At the same time, the Justice League members Shazam, Wonder Woman, Aquaman, and Cyborg find themselves in a fight against supervillains, not realizing that they are holograms created by Batman, who wants to access the Hell suit without any intervention. The League eventually realizes that they are fighting holograms while Batman warns Luthor to not stop him. Despite all the times Luthor has stood against Superman and the heroes, Darkseid is a common enemy for both the League and Luthor. He soon learns of Batman's plan from Batman himself in a Justice suit. Following this, Batman heads to Apokolips via a boom tube and he makes his departure before the members of the Justice League arrive. The 35th issue, Robin Rises, Hellbound, begins with Batman navigating Apokolips with the cloaking device making him invisible. Meanwhile, the powers of the armor aid him and he rescues some lowlies who were burning in the pit. Soon, the parademons seek out the one responsible for rescuing the lowlies, only for Batman to threaten them into revealing Glorious Godfrey's location. On the other hand, Hellbat is desperate to restore Apocalypse using the Chaos Shard's power in Damian's sarcophagus, all because he still wants his father to be proud of him. At the same time, Cyborg gets called by Batgirl into the Batcave. She reveals how the League has been busy fighting supervillains who are actually their holographic versions created by Batman to keep them busy. The Bat family pretends to need Batman's help, and as such, Victor plugs into the system himself. An electric shock renders Cyborg unconscious, allowing Batgirl to use the Mother Box technology within him to go to Apocalypse via a boom tube. However, Cyborg awakens soon and tries to go after the Bat family. As such, he gets sucked into Apocalypse as well. At the compound of Glorious Godfrey and with his Hellbat, Batman easily takes down the standing guards and the Justifiers before getting to Godfrey. He thrusts Godfrey into a pit and forces him to take him to Damian's body and the Chaos Crystal, which Hellbat is currently using to fuel the Chaos Cannon. The 36th issue, known as Robin Rises Chaos, starts off with Batman dominating the fight between him and Glorious Godfrey thanks to the Hellbat. He then learns of Hellbat's existence and his relationship with Darkseid. He also learns how his Chaos Cannon is supposed to work by destroying inhabited worlds and absorbing their energy. Batman soon begins his search for Damian Wayne when he realizes that something is harming his vitals. Well, the armor's inherent nature is to initially harm the physical body it is supposed to externally strengthen. At the same time, the Bat family Cyborg and Batman's dog Titus find themselves on Apocalypse. Batman fights off and tears through the parademons to reach Hellbat. He defeats so many beings that the Bat family is completely shocked. He heads to Hellbat, who is preparing to fire the Chaos Cannon. Cyborg then rigs it to blow itself up while Batman fights and defeats Hellbat. However, Victor Stone is not nearby when the worst threat to Batman finally arrives on the scene, which we see in the 37th issue, Robin Rises, Black Hole Sun. At the same time, the Chaos Cannon being fired results in Batman getting a shard of the crystal into his suit, which is affecting him severely. Darkseid and Batman go against one another, with Batman fighting hard in the Hellbat suit, surprisingly holding up well against DC's strongest antagonist. Darkseid even breaks the Mother Box, taking away Batman's chance to escape. As Batman lands more and more hits on Darkseid, the Apocalyptian throws him into the fuel chamber of the Chaos Cannon. The impact makes Damian's sarcophagus slip out and almost fall into the void. Fortunately, Batman stops the worst from happening as he catches it, only for Darkseid to come crashing down on him. Soon after, Darkseid spots Batman holding a Chaos Shard, which has seemingly done a lot of damage to his body since he is not an Apocalyptian or a new god. Batman, whose vitals are now in a sorry state, continues to fight against Darkseid. Batman gets his Hellbat's wings broken by Darkseid, and yet he dares the villain to kill him. Happy to oblige, Darkseid prepares his Omega beams to get rid of Batman once and for all. The beams are not something that can be dodged, and Batman knows that very well. He thrusts the Chaos Shard upward as Darkseid shoots his beams, charging the shard with unimaginable amounts of energy. Finally, Batman has what he wanted, as the shard now has boundless energy. He blasts the Omega energy at Darkseid, and with Damian's sarcophagus escapes into a boom tube created by the Bat family using Cyborg. Soon Batman is back at the Batcave, while the Hellbat is in a sorry state from the overload due to the shard's power. Batman is not left in a state stable enough to open Damian's sarcophagus, causing the Dark Knight to power through his problems for doing what he wants to do. The Hellbat seems to be killing him, but he still does not remove it. He gradually opens the sarcophagus and thrusts the shard from his chest into that of Damian's. His efforts work as Damian comes back to life, but Batman seems to be on the verge of losing his. So yeah, the Hellbat's powers come with a high price, which is only amplified by the shard, making it a not so accessible armor for our caped crusader. In fact, the suit is not really used after this and does not really come into the foray until the next part of our video. Lois put on Hellbat to save Superman and their son. The Hellbat makes a brief but remarkable appearance in 2016 with the 5th issue of Superman Volume 4, son of Superman. In this story, we have the Eradicator as the big guy, who is basically a Kryptonian weapon merged with a human body. He has consumed the souls of several dead Kryptonians and hates humans for being inferior. He hates Superman for being so fond of the humans, marrying one of them, in this case Lois Lane, and even having a half-human and half-Kryptonoid son named Jonathan. Needless to say, the Eradicator hates Jonathan for being part human, but where does the Hellbat fit into the storyline? Well, we will get there in just a second. The issue opens with Superman fleeing to the dark side of the moon with Lois and Jonathan, since he needs to fight the Eradicator in a place where he can go all out with his powers. On the moon, the Super family reaches Batman's secret Batcave for safety, only for the Eradicator to arrive there and attack Superman. While John and Lois run to safeguard themselves, Superman fights the foe. With the Eradicator housing Kryptonian souls in his body, Superman is once again left with no choice but to hold back. Naturally, this becomes his worst mistake as the Eradicator absorbs Superman and heads towards John. He demeans Lois for being human and asks John to die in peace as his cursed human side taints his gifted Kryptonian genome. With powers similar to his father's, John fights back, but there's not much he can do as an untrained boy against someone housing Kryptonian souls with Superman's life force. Meanwhile, Lois gets her hands on the Hellbat armor and arrives at the party to save her son. Throughout the rest of the fight, the Hellbat suit protects Lois, and it allows her to protect John against the Eradicator. Meanwhile, Superman absorbs the spirits of the Kryptonians and comes out of the Eradicator's body to fight him. In the next issue, the spirits supercharge Superman while Lois continues to protect John in the Hellbat suit amidst a fight that shakes the moon and makes waves all across the news channels on Earth. In the end, the last soul, that is the soul of Krypto the dog, leaves the Eradicator's body, squeezing the weapon out of the last of the life force within it and bringing the fight to an end. Later, Superman approaches Batman, apologizing to him for causing damage to the equipment. Meanwhile, Lois keeps a glove piece from the armor to use during emergencies. What makes the Hellbat armor so deadly? The Hellbat armor is deadly for two broad reasons. Number one, it grants a human with the ability to fight beings with catastrophic and godly powers. Number two, the human who uses it is Batman, a strong weapon in the right hands, making it an absolute force to be reckoned with. Batman's flex aside, it is essentially created for him to be able to fight alongside his Justice League teammates in the case of massive threats. However, the suit, as we have already seen, is quite risky. Not to mention, it ran out of charge pretty quickly while Lois Lane used it, plus it did not do much to prevent her from feeling the heat from Superman's fight with the Eradicator. But on a brighter note, it allowed an untrained person to defend herself and her son against a ridiculously powerful enemy. In the case of Batman, he is supposed to use the suit as a last resort, mainly because it is fueled by the user's metabolism. So, it is destined to kill him while being used, with or without a Chaos Crystal speeding up the process. In terms of features, we have gone over its invisibility and flight, but what makes this cooler is the fact that beings with supervision and super senses will also never be able to detect the Hellbat when it's in stealth mode. The armor's materials can change shape courtesy of nanotechnology. The duration for how long one can use it can be prolonged by ejecting certain parts when necessary, and the effects will still be remarkable. In fact, the gloves Lois had taken for herself could project blasts capable of knocking out someone like Frankenstein. Finally, even though it was created by the members of the League, Bruce Wayne can rebuild it all by himself, giving him complete autonomy over the Hellbat after a certain point. Marvelous verdict. The name of the armor itself does a great job at expressing what it is like for both the user and the opponent, which is hell. While going against a Hellbat-clad Bruce Wayne might be a hellish experience for his opponents, donning something that directly uses his metabolism to power itself becomes a hellish experience for Batman too. And if you liked our content today, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to us if you haven't already. And in the meantime, have a good one and be safe. Thank you, everybody.